Well, now to our special focus on People First this evening. 8 young Indian children, all orphans, part of a choir group run by an NGO, have now been denied a US visa despite their NGO having an invitation from a US body.
Well, that decision certainly crashed their dreams, but we're told they're not yet giving up hope. Shubhajit Sengupta has their story.
Now everything, all the dream has been shut.
It's a dream 22-year-old Pinky and her team of 8 to 10-year-olds have held close to their hearts for 8 months. All orphans brought up by the Delhi-based Udayan Care. They had been chosen to represent India in the World Orphans Choir, touring 20 cities in the US over the next 10 months. But 2 days before their departure, the embassy refused them visas. They claim they were told they have no ties to bring them back to India. This even as delegations from Peru and Liberia have already reached the United States.
वो बोल रहे थे कि ये हम वहाँ जाएंगे तो सेटल हो जाएंगे, ये कुछ बात नहीं है, हमें तो अपने देश ही आना है।
और हम लोगों ने इतनी सारी प्रैक्टिस की थी, हमने 8 months तक प्रैक्टिस की थी।
I'm really frustrated with this decision. I feel that I know this is the first time for India, and I expected some pushback or some extra due diligence, but I never anticipated.
The International Children's Network, which is organizing the choir, has invitation letters from several US senators and state governors. The group also has Homeland Security permission to travel through America.
In fact, there have been 4 instances when our children have gone abroad. In fact, to the US itself, 2 of our children have gone.
The embassy, when contacted, refused to react to this visa incident and gave a general response. The US law prohibits US from disclosing details of individual visa cases. As US law provides for the confidentiality of visa records, the long-standing policy of the Department of State is not to comment publicly on individual visa cases. It was supposed to be a dream trip for these young children, 10 months in the US, but in spite of US Homeland Security giving them the permission, the embassy here denied them the visa. They claim they were told these children do not have connections strong enough in India for them to return to the country once again. In New Delhi, with Jagmohan Rawat, this is Shubhajit Sengupta.
And can that decision be changed at all? Joining us in the studio, Pinky Biswas. She is the head of the Indian delegation from the NGO Udayan. Also, Heather Pedersen, we saw you over there speaking about it. She is a member of the International Children's Network that's sponsoring the children. And Pinky, if I could just ask you, we saw the kids over there singing also, Hum Honge Kamyab, We Shall Overcome. What was their reaction when they found out that that plan to go to the US was not going to happen?
Well, the first thing I saw them when they just saw my face, they understood that the embassy, they haven't given the permission, and they burst into tears. And I could not face them. That was my reaction. And they have just told, that since we don't have strong tie enough to come back, and they strongly feel that we will just stay there and we will not come back at all. And I will not come back because I'm also an orphan child.
Okay. And was that something that was communicated to you orally? Was that something, was it like a reason that was given to you by the embassy?
Well, there was nothing in written. They personally called Dr. Kiran Modi. She's the head of the organization. She started Udayan Care in 1994, and they called Dr. Kiran Modi and me. They asked the children they should not come. So we went there and they just gave us the entire thing verbally, saying since they don't have the ties.
Certainly very disappointing news. Even so, Heather, the fact is the US is well within its rights, the US Embassy is well within its rights to deny anyone a visa without even giving any reasons. Why are you still appealing? Do you still hope that they may change?
We always have hope. The entire case doesn't quite make sense. They've gotten permission from Homeland Security. On our side, we've had senators and congressmen write in that this is a well-established choir this is the 3rd year. This is the 1st year in India. However, good credibility, excellent transparency.
Do you think these children are being discriminated against because they're orphans, because they're Indians?
I think it's a catch-22. I'm half Indian myself. I've got my heart in both countries, and I do appreciate our border control. You know, our borders are leaking like sieves in the United States, so I appreciate the energy and protection of the trafficking and the illegal immigrants, and so I appreciate that.
But here you have a lot of credibility to go with the application. So does that worry you that arguably an application with perhaps this kind of clearances, with this kind of support and established track record in the past is being rejected? Does that worry you?
I think it's a case of so many applications, and honestly I'm not sure they really reviewed the paperwork, because there was an inordinate amount of paperwork just to make sure that there were no holes, there's nothing to hide. I mean, it's a legitimate hire, it's been, track record is excellent, and so I'm finding it difficult to believe that with all the backup that...
So your hope is that it would happen sooner than later, if at all it has to happen, because the kids are running out of time as far as the shows are concerned.
Indeed. Delta and KLM have been fantastic in helping me with the change fees, and I'm holding out that if there's been a mistake made, that it's always time to make a correction. So thank you for covering.
Well, we certainly hope that the decision will be reviewed, and you and all the other children will be able to make it out with your dreams and your voices, part of the World Orphan Choir there.
Well, we'll take a very short break here on 8 p.m. Prime. When we come back, one more real